we go. So one of the ones that was asked, actually several people asked us about knots, single strand knots or knots at the end of the hair and how to prevent them. So what happens is if you wear your hair out a lot, in wash and goes especially, you'll notice you have a lot of knotting at the end. Your hair is spiral and it knots on itself. It's actually, it's just a common phenomenon with kinky, coily, curly hair. So some things that you can do to reduce knots and avoid them is to reduce your wash and go wear. So if you wear your hair in a wash and go a lot, you're most likely to experience more knots. So try to not wear that many wash and goes, or if that's just your go-to style and you need to wear that, then detangle often in between your wash and goes. And also when you sleep at night, put your hair up in a ponytail or in a bun, or put it in some braids so that the ends are protected when you sleep, because I think when you sleep and when you rub against your pillow is when you most likely create these knots. If you want to switch up styles but still want to have the same look, you can go for twist outs or braid outs and still wear your hair out. I encourage you to also use put your hair in protective styles that protect the ends of the hair from knotting. So most of us, when we put our hair in protective styles, we detangle it first. So once you detangle and put it in a protective style such as braids, twists or buns, then the hair is protected. It's not manipulated as often, as frequently, so the knots, the likelihood of getting knots is reduced. You seal your ends with oil or a buttery moisturizer depending on your hair profile, so that can also reduce the amount of knotting you get. Detangle often, but also make sure that when you detangle, you detangle from the tips of the hair up to the roots and not from the roots down, preferably with your fingers first, and follow it with a wide tooth comb before you detangle with a brush. I have a video on how to detangle on the hair portal, so go ahead and please create your account. You can go to glisen.me and click get started to fill out our short quiz, which will then invite you to create an account. Once you create an account and have your hair portal, you will access information, and some of the information is relevant to this. There's, for example, a video on how to detangle hair that can be useful to you to reduce the number of knots. Another question that was asked is around thinning edges, and this is for both adults and kids. So thinning edges or receding hairline is, I have a little bit of it here, you can see on the video. Thinning edges is when it's actually a combination of two things. It's when your hair, when your follicle experiences trauma from tension or from chemicals, consistent tension or chemicals, such that it stops growing hair, or the hair that comes out of the follicle thins out. So when you see your hair thinning out, it means the less hair is growing because some of the follicles have stopped growing hair, but also the hair that is still growing could also be thinner than it used to be. So it's two things, and the first thing to do is to reduce or avoid any tension on the hair. So if you put your hair up in a bun or any type of style that pulls at it, try to stop that. The way I get around that is, if I still want to achieve a slicked or look, or if I have flyaways that I want to tame, I put my hair in a bun or a ponytail like this, and then I pull some of the hair back out so it's not that pulled, and then I put on my satin headscarf to kind of lay down some of the flyaways, and that gives me the same look. If you create an account on your personalized hair portal, a satin headscarf is recommended for everyone, really, or those that have indicated that they need styling suggestions. And this is how I get around for getting the same look without pulling my hair back. If you do wear braids with extensions that pull down on the hair, please speak to your stylist and insist that he or she shouldn't pull your hair so much. You can still achieve the same neat look without pulling the hair that much. You can use product and just make it look the same without that tension. A way to encourage your follicles to regrow hair or grow thicker hair is by using specific oils that are formulated or that are meant to encourage blood circulation to the scalp, which will help your follicles thrive. So any essential oil like rosemary oil mixed with a carrier oil, because rosemary oil or other essential oils are too potent to be applied directly on our scalp. So if you mix essential oils such as rosemary oil with a carrier oil like coconut or avocado or olive oil or sweet almond oil, you mix those two together, just a few drops of the essential oil into like 4 ounces of carrier oil, and you massage it on the scalp, and take some time to really work it into the scalp, and do this consistently, because consistency is the key here. Do it consistently over a period of time. It'll encourage your hair follicles to regrow hair. The massaging encourages blood flow to the follicles, and so does the oil mixture, and that together will help your follicles thrive. Another good oil to use is Jamaican black castor oil. It's known to help with thinning edges and receding hairlines. How to achieve growth and volume. So I want to suggest that we have a mindset shift and think about retaining our length and not necessarily growing our hair faster. I don't stand behind any product that is supposed to grow your hair faster than its natural rate. I haven't tried and experienced any difference really. All I know is that on average everyone's hair grows around ½ inches of a month, so that's about 6 inches a year. And if we retain length, we'll be able to see that. If you've dyed your hair or if you've permed or relaxed your hair, you'll notice that you have new growth, and that's not because the color faded. That's actually new hair growing. And you may not necessarily see the growth down your back because you may be losing hair at the ends of your hair at the same rate that you're growing them. So the key is to think about how to retain length more than how to grow your hair faster. So the way you retain length is keep your hair moisturized, trim your ends, make sure your ends are healthy, moisturized, and detangle in such a way that you don't break your hair off and lose the length that you've retained. As far as volume is concerned, we're all born with a finite number of hair follicles, and so we cannot increase the number of hair follicles in our scalp. What we can do is we can nurture the follicles so that if they've been damaged or malnourished to the point where they're growing thinner hair, we can encourage them and nourish them so that they grow thicker hair. But we cannot create new follicles. How do you clean your scalp without washing hair? So yes, you can keep your scalp clean if you go longer between your wash days. One way is, if you know already that before, when you wash your hair, if you know that you're not going to be able to wash your hair for a while, for example, you're installing weave or putting your hair in braids and you don't want to wash it maybe for a while, you can make sure you clarify your scalp when you clarify your hair, and also, if possible, exfoliate your scalp so that your scalp is really clean. And then once you install your style, maybe you can go longer without washing it. You can also use dry shampoo. Nowadays, brands that specifically make products for textured hair have some of them have dry shampoos that are effective, so you can use those in between washes. You can also use witch hazel and apply it directly to the scalp, maybe using a cotton ball or using an oil applicator bottle. And the witch hazel is known to absorb the buildup and kind of clear your scalp from debris and buildup, so that can help you stay longer in between washes. How often should I clarify my hair? The answer depends on several things. One is the amount of product that you put on your hair regularly, and also your activity and your lifestyle. If you work out a lot or if you swim a lot, I suggest clarifying your hair more often, especially after swimming and you haven't worn a swimming cap. Chlorine is not good for hair, it dries it out extremely, so I suggest clarifying. Regular sulfate-free shampoos may not remove the chlorine from your hair, so I suggest a clarifying shampoo after swimming. If you work out regularly and you feel like there's a lot of buildup on your scalp, you could clarify more often. If you use a lot of products, and the way you know that you have product buildup is when you go to use your product, say for a wash and go style, and you notice that the style, the curls or the effect that you're looking for is not happening, your hair is not reacting or is looking the way that you're used to it looking, that means there's product buildup on your hair and your hair is not actually absorbing the products you're putting on it. There's a barrier, the buildup, so it's just sitting on top, not doing anything. That could be a sign for you to know that it's time to clarify. comment or a question around hair that takes a long time to absorb water or to get wet, and that's probably low porosity hair, assuming it's not product buildup or a lot of oil on the hair. It's more likely that this person has low porosity hair. And what happens with low porosity hair is the cuticles that are protecting our hair on the outer layer of hair are usually supposed to be they're supposed to be like this. If this is the hair, they're supposed to, some of them are supposed to be shut but not completely sealed, and some people have very tightly shut and sealed cuticles, which protects the hair strand, but it's very hard for water and moisture to be absorbed by such hair. And so you'll notice that you'll just be running water on it and it's not even getting wet. You'll just have to give it time for it to slowly absorb the moisture. The good news is once it absorbs moisture, it takes a while for the hair to dry out, and so you'll just have to know to use lighter weight products that are easily absorbed and just give it time to absorb. You may even have to physically work it into the hair and then let it absorb slowly, and then you can go by several days without re-moisturizing because it holds on to the moisture.